Hi everyone, welcome to Starsight. My name is Samya Vasa. I'm an astrologer and a tarot reader. Venus is now in Libra. It's airy, masculine home sign. It's going to be here until early December. So roughly we have a month of Venus being powerful, present, available with all its gifts in Libra, through Libra. This year, Venus is going to face an opposition to Chiron in Aries between November 20 and 26. And then as Venus moves out of this opposition, it's going to be conjunct the South Node and opposite the North Node. Also for 5 to 6 days, roughly from November 26th to December 2nd. I'll put the dates in the description box. Now, as Venus moves through Libra, it's going to make various aspects to different planets. But in my opinion, it's going to be this opposition to Chiron and this conjunction and opposition with the nodes that's going to be the defining flavor of this transit. Generally, Venus in Libra is a great, wonderful, conflict resolving transit. But this year, there's a little bit of complication there. I mean, every year, there's always some particularity that modifies the general significations of Venus in Libra. Because astrology, it's a dynamic text. It's not just one planet in one sign, but how the planet is moving through that sign, how it's getting affected by the other planets around, what's just happened to Venus before it enters Libra, etc. Lots of different things come to bear on planetary significations when we're looking at transits. Now with Venus, this happens every year because it's the nature of the zodiac placements. Venus moves from Virgo into Libra and then into Scorpio. Both Virgo and Scorpio are places where Venus is not itself, or Venus has trouble displaying its usual significations. In Virgo, Venus is in its fall, and in Scorpio, Venus is in exile. And so this in-between space of Libra is doubly powerful, not just because it is Venus's home, but because it's sandwiched between two unfavorable places for Venus. And so you should start seeing Venus coming back to its fullness pretty soon. So Venus is already at, I think, 15 minutes of Libra right now, 0 degrees and 15 minutes. But I think those of us who are sensitive to astrological energy, or those of us who are able to read astrology in conjunction with our life, we should be able to feel this already, this change in the air. So what I'm going to do in this talk is first share a little bit about Venus in Libra in general. What are the significations that one associates with Venus in Libra and how you could see that energy in your own life. Then I'll move to talking about the opposition with Chiron in Aries, and then I'll talk about the aspects that Venus is going to make with the nodes. Okay. Venus in Libra is very, very good at figuring out what the shared ground is in a conflict. So, for example, if you're having a fight with someone, you think that you're on opposite sides. But with Venus in Libra, you're able to identify values or principles or goals that both of you share. And that kind of a moment usually has a lot of clarifying and peacemaking effect. between two parties. So let's say that a parent and a child are in a therapy session and they are not able to see eye to eye on something really important. Now, the therapist, acting as this vehicle of Venus in Libra, could remind both of them that their shared goal is the flourishing of the child. Their shared, unquestionable goal is that the child has all the resources they need within themselves and outside of themselves to do the things that they want to do, to grow in ways that they want to grow. Now, this would serve as a powerful reminder to both of them that they are here fighting a common enemy. They are not each other's enemy. The enemy is something else. And what's the enemy? The enemy is miscommunication. The enemy is forgetting that they're both on the same side. Venus in Libra is so powerful at doing this because its gift is harmonizing. Now, harmonizing not in the sense of, okay, peace, I'm going to let go of my conflict, but harmonizing in the sense of music, where a lot of notes come together, even notes that clash with one another, but they come together in such a beautiful way that they become music. The sum is greater than its parts. So if they are able to come together in a beautiful way, even though they clash with each other, they're going to produce something that is much bigger than them alone. And when I say they come together in a beautiful way, the principle here is the right relationship. Venus in Libra is interested in establishing the right relationship between different things. This right relationship is not about equality. So with the parent and the child, they are not equals. The parent does know more. The parent does have more control. The parent does have more authority. The child has less, but the child has an equal stake in whatever's happening. So the right relationship here is not, okay, the child is going to be able to, break the rules that the parent establishes. The right relationship is going to be that the parent provides space for the child to say no. That the parent provides space for the child to ask, how does this help me when everything in my body screams no? The right relationship would be the parent respecting the child enough to explain their reasoning, to have a real dialogue with the child. Yet, the authority lies on the side of the parent until the child turns 18. So the right relationship here is not of equality, but of appropriateness, of respect, of mutuality. Venus in Libra does this harmonizing not in an intuitive way. No, this is not Venus in Pisces. Venus in Libra gets to this place of harmonizing through rational means, through logical means, through figuring things out mentally, from a place of neutrality, from a place of principles, from a place of logical thinking. Venus in Libra is superbly committed to the process of figuring out what the truth is. It knows that the truth is not often just available in an instant, but you have to follow due process to get there. And it loves this due process, the balancing of the scales, right? It's a slow process. You have to give it your full attention and you have to do various things. You have to try various weights before the scales are balanced. Venus in Libra loves that, finds beauty in the process. So with this transit available to us for about a month, go to the Libra house in your chart and explore how this harmonizing, this capacity to find shared ground could help the house topics of Libra in your chart. Look at the places where this kind of mental neutrality, this kind of logical thinking, this kind of detachment that actually allows you to see more could help you. See, it's not that Venus in Libra is not emotional. It's just that, again, it has the right relationship to its emotional body. So it's able to use the emotional body as data, as really valuable data that it wouldn't get otherwise. But again, it uses it only as data. It does not follow its lead. It thinks about what this data can do, how it can help us make an informed decision. So if I'm feeling really angry with my partner, having the emotional body become my lead, I would think I need to break up with them. Whereas Venus in Libra would show me, okay, you're feeling angry about this, which means that you're feeling unseen. Now, is this an older wound that's getting triggered by something that your partner is doing? Is this a pattern within this relationship, or is this like something that's just happened? This happens rarely, but it's happened and it's triggered something deep within you because you're used to being seen in this relationship. And the fact that your partner made you feel unseen, that's kind of making your alarm bells ring sharper than usual. So you need to really breathe through this activation of your wound and then think about the state of your partnership, rather than use the alarm bells as evidence that this relationship is now over. For me, the most powerful thing about Venus in Libra is that, well, let me put it in tarot terms. Venus in Libra is not the king of swords, not the detached observer who dispenses justice. Venus in Libra is the queen of swords, who is absolutely capable of dispensing justice. But what the queen is interested in is living with others. I think so often about people, especially in my country, who lodge rape cases against their neighbors or against someone who is influential in their own family or in their neighborhood or in their community. And it takes so much courage to lodge those rape cases, to file police complaints. It takes a long time for the trial to commence and to get concluded. And it's hell for people who file rape cases. And then in the few cases where justice is declared, I wonder so much about those people. Like, okay, justice is done, but how do you live after that? Because let's say that I filed a case against like a powerful politician in my neighborhood, and yes, the politician did get sent to jail. What happens to me in my neighborhood? Do people start ostracizing me? Do they start treating me badly? How does the rest of my family deal with me? How do they treat me? We're often, in terms of the media or just like as outsiders, we're thinking about what happens to the case. Has justice been dealt or not? But the truth is that even after justice has been dealt, and that happens rarely, but even after that's done, the life of the people who've been courageous enough to say something, to do something, their life is still really difficult. There's still a lot of things that they have to navigate because they spoke up and because they were given justice. It's like the possibilities for relational social injustice go even higher if they've received legal justice. And this is something Venus in Libra is very conscious of. This is something that Venus in Libra is very, very compassionate towards. It doesn't stop at getting justice. You have to keep living with other people. You have to keep living with people who are associated with your oppressor. You have to keep living with people who all have oppressors within them. And so Venus in Libra teaches us that the work of justice is never ending. And the work of justice, whether we like it or not, it's not something that happens passively to us. Even positive outcomes, you have to make space for even the positive outcomes. Even the positive outcomes have a cost attached to them. And you have to be able to meet that cost, unfair as that is. Now, it's not that with Venus in Libra, these costs are reduced, but I think Venus in Libra gives us that extra awareness and that extra capacity to hold space for ourselves, to hold space for the parts of us that are afraid of justice because we know what's going to come after that. Parts of us that want justice, but then there are other parts of us that are afraid for good reason of the costs of receiving justice in this realm. So once again, look at the house of Libra in your chart and see how all of this, any of this, can help you navigate those topics better over the next month. Now, generally, as I said, Venus in Libra is a powerful energy, powerful transit for conflicts. But this year, like many other years, past many years, Chiron has been in Aries. So Venus in Libra would have to form an opposition at some point to Chiron. Now, Chiron signifies a wound in our psyches that is fundamentally non-healable. It cannot be healed, that wound. Our relationship to it can be changed. We can start using the wound as an eye. We can start using our experience of being wounded to help others who are wounded similar to us. But wherever Chiron is in our chart, it signifies a wound that cannot be healed. Okay? But this possibility of changing our relationship to it, that becomes very much available to us when Chiron opposes Venus, especially in the signs of Aries and Libra. It's almost like you have a very neutral, loving hand on your shoulder, and as soon as you feel that touch, you break out into sobs. It's not that the hand has hurt you, it's just that you suddenly feel safe, and that safety allows you to grieve for the parts of you that are in pain. That safe space allows those wounds to emerge into consciousness. Now, with Chiron being in Aries, the wounds that are being indicated are around our sense of independence, our ability to initiate action towards our dreams, wounds around bravery, the capacity to trust our instincts, the capacity to take a leap of faith, to really stand on our own 2 feet, to move towards the vision that we have for ourselves. With Chiron in Aries, we can experience a lot of self-doubt. or even if we don't doubt ourselves or our vision, there could be a lack of strength within us to follow through, to really go in the direction that we are being drawn to. Chiron in Aries could also indicate a weakness of physical body, where everything is in place, you're ready to take action, but your body doesn't support you. You have no energy to really go after what you need to do. And generally, of course, physical health or mental health issues are not our fault. They're simply manifestations of certain suffering within us, or sometimes it's not even that, it's environmental. But astrologically, it helps to see all physical and mental suffering as emanating from spiritual wounds. And so even if you are dealing with a physical problem right now, just as an experiment, try and think, okay, what could be the spiritual cause of this physical problem? Chiron in Aries, exploring the significations of Chiron in Aries could help you with that. So with this opposition coming into effect November 20 to 26, the emergence of your wounds could be painful, especially look at the Aries house of your chart. But that painfulness, think of it as a sign that something is going really well in your life, that there is a safe space in your life that has allowed that painfulness to emerge. It could also be a time where your goals to be independent, to do what you need to do, is supported by others in a very simple, direct way. That you don't have to convince your partner, for example, that you need more space. That you can simply say that, and it's just met really neutrally and very lovingly. And so this opposition, I see it as a great aspect. A lot of potential in those 6 days for us to meet our wounds and to feel the healing power of safe relationships. The story, however, is changing. So we have these 6 days where you may feel like you're getting a lot of support from other people. But the story is changing as Venus moves out of this opposition with Chiron and applies to a conjunction with the South Node and an opposition to the North Node. Now, this is something we haven't seen in a while. So, of course, Venus moves through the whole zodiac in, I think it's less than a year, and so it meets the South Node every year. But the South Node hasn't been in Libra in 18 years, and so Venus in its own home of Libra meeting the South Node, this is something that we haven't seen in a long time. So typically, when the South Node touches a planet or makes an aspect to a planet, it decreases its power. It decreases the capacities of those planets. Okay, so it can be a positive thing or it can also be a negative thing. It can be a positive thing when the South Node is decreasing the power of Mars, for example. We very much need that right now. Or if the South Node is decreasing Saturn's power and you can be less hard on yourself. But when the South Node is meeting Venus, that's hard because Chiron has just gotten activated. Our wounds have gotten activated and we need support. We need the capacity to harmonize within us. And we need the capacity to harmonize, to be activated in the people around us. Instead, what the South Node will be doing, it will decrease this power to harmonize. And so what could have started as a very balanced conversation around wounding, around needing something from the other, and the other meeting you in the right way, it could quickly and suddenly and unexpectedly deteriorate into the other getting triggered as well. So I'm narrativizing this to help us understand it. Of course, in real life, it may pan out in a very different way. But at the level of narrative, so let's stick to the needing space from partner example. So I say to my partner, I need space, I feel I've become really enmeshed with you, and I'm using this enmeshment somehow unconsciously to not go after my goals. And I feel really held back, and I feel really fearful of doing what I actually need to do. And so the way I see it, I think I need to create spaces in my day and in general in my life where I am on my own more often, or I'm doing certain things on my own. Or if we're working together and all of our projects are shared, I feel the need to have a project of my own. And I present this during the Venus-Chiron opposition, and I'm pleasantly surprised when my partner says, I totally understand. Absolutely, no problem. Tell me what you need. Do you want to start now? Do you want to start in a few days? How will we make the transition? Things are really good. And we feel closer because one partner has been able to meet the other partner's need in a very direct, fulfilling way. But then as we start implementing some of the practical changes that we need, my partner starts feeling triggered. They start feeling, shit, was it so bad working with me? Are you trying to say that I was smothering you? Are you trying to say that I didn't give you your own say in things, even if it was a shared project? Now, this could really throw me off balance because it was the safe space that the partner provided that allowed me to express myself in the first place. So now we are both in a very wounded energy, and it's possible that we stop seeing eye to eye on this problem. We're both feeling rejected. We're both feeling minimized. And this is very much Venus in South Node, Venus conjunct South Node energy. Whereas Venus is opposing the North Node in Aries, and so our fights can take the turn of, well, my needs need to be prioritized right now. I was the person who brought this up to you. And the other person could feel, but are my needs not as important? So then it can become a power struggle of who is more important, whose needs take precedence. But it's, as you can see, it's losses all around, right? Because both feel that any kind of compromise would be a compromise of what they really, really need. Now, the reason that I'm thinking about this in advance and sharing this with you, and for me, this is the purpose of astrological thinking. This is the purpose of analyzing transits a little bit in advance, is to give us the privilege of awareness, so that when we're actually going through these conflicts, if they do come up for us, then we can remember this bit of insight from a month ago, that we are in deeply wounded territory right now, both me and the partner. And just that little bit of remembrance can help us see the situation differently. Again, that thing about the shared ground. We can start remembering that we are not against each other, that there's a lot of shared ground here. The partner feels insecure about their presence in my life, and I feel insecure about my person. And so then we can start having a conversation about insecurities instead of needs. We can say, okay, let's do this. Tomorrow morning, half an hour, I just want to share with you what I'm afraid of. And then tomorrow evening, half an hour, I'm going to listen, and it's just you who's going to share your fears with me. And we're just going to listen to each other without trying to come up with a solution. I guarantee you something's going to shift when we do that. And so Venus at the South Node is this unexpected eruption of conflict because our capacity to harmonize is suddenly decimated. But it also has this potential of seeing beyond ourselves, of prioritizing the relationship over our egos, of being able to sacrifice something of our certainty, being able to sacrifice something of our pride, and to really, truly listen to the other, because that smoothness and that ease is no longer available. So you have to intentionally and with full consciousness uphold it. And that is very different than the general loveliness of Venus and Libra. Because with Venus and Libra, really that ease is in the air. It's really possible to listen to the other person. But with the South Node in picture, you have to really, really want to listen to the other. And I think those moments change us much more than the easy listening moments. The other possibilities with Venus conjunct the South Node are around shadowy manifestations of Venus in Libra. And one of those is superficiality. So remember, we talked about balancing the scales and harmonizing. Now, often Venus and Libra individuals, at least early in their lives, will have trouble distinguishing between the appearance of harmony and the reality of it. And some of those individuals will grow into absolutely fantastic judges of the distinction. They will grow to be absolutely discerning individuals. But some Venus and Libra individuals will stay with that superficiality. Okay? So I knew someone with Venus and Libra, for example, who married someone who was perfect for them on paper. Perfect. Complementary in every which way. But that marriage had no passion. And when I say all of this, I'm not betraying anyone's confidence. This became public knowledge because the marriage fell apart, sadly. But there was no passion in that marriage. It just was a really logical, really clean match. Even when they thought they were in love, they weren't. It was more like, this feels like the right thing to do. This feels like the perfect way to achieve my goals. And it was not selfish. They were not deceiving each other. It was really what they wanted. The Venus and Libra individual at some point fell very, very hard in love, and that's when they realized that this is what they had unconsciously done, that they had mistaken the appearance of harmony with their current partner to be true harmonizing. This is the key here. Harmony is a noun and harmonizing is a verb. Venus in Libra is about harmonizing, not harmony. The process, the path of music. That's what Venus in Libra is about in its highest manifestation. So if you have Venus in Libra in your chart, one of the things you can ask yourself is, have you at any point mistaken the real process of harmonizing with the appearance of harmony? Even if you're a super authentic person, which I'm sure you are, there's always room for more authenticity and more honesty with the self. And because this is one of the things that Venus and Libra individuals have to contend with sooner or later within themselves, it could help you over the next month to notice what kind of capacity you have towards depth, towards the endlessness of creating the right relationship. What parts of it satisfy you and what parts of it feel draining? Is it exhausting? Is it inspiring? Has it come naturally to you? Has it been something that you've had to consciously cultivate? Maybe you have the South Node and Venus conjunct in your chart. So if there's anything particular in your chart, if you have Venus in Libra conjunct any other planet, or if you do have Venus conjunct South Node in any other sign, you can share that in the comments and we can have a brief discussion about what that could mean for you. So, in general, this is going to be a helpful transit for most of us. I hope you're able to make the best of it.